you started off as a Christian,
Mm-hmm.
but that didn't seem to work in your life as well.
Right.
In other words, there were problems that you carried into that relationship with Christ, and that also went down the line and affected your marriage later on. Tell us part of the story.
Well, I was a Christian, but I just lacked this one minor thing, character, which doesn't instantly happen when you become a Christian. You know, if you were a weirdo before you're a Christian, you're a weirdo afterwards, and
Mm-hmm.
you have to go through a process of wanting to build character, and I didn't do that. And it kind of all came into focus when I had moved to California from Texas, and I was driving this little Mercedes convertible through Malibu, feeling like I was on top of the world. Now, it was a used Mercedes, but it was a Mercedes. It was
Mm-hmm.
10 years old, but I felt like I had it going. And but I had a lust problem still. And I was just recently married at the time, and all of a sudden I look over and there is a woman in Malibu jogging in a bikini. Now, I was from Texas. Women did not jog in bikinis there, and it's a good thing in most cases. But here was this woman, and I started to look at her as she's jogging along there, beautiful, tan, and I couldn't get my eyes off her. And I was in stop-and-go traffic, and as she kept going, I just continued to follow her. Because I was glued to her and in this lustful thinking, and as I was kind of moving forward, the car in front of me stopped, and as I was looking back at this woman, I plowed my new little 10-year-old car into the car in front of me. And so instantly, you know, the consequences of my lust were there, and I had to think of how I was going to tell my wife that I swerved to miss the little puppy, and just all sorts of things went through my head there. But that caused me to stop and say to myself, hey, you got to make a decision of who you're going to be, or you're going to have these kinds of consequences for the rest of your life. And you'd think that would have been the worst thing that ever happened. But I had the consequences before. I went to Baylor University. I got a girl pregnant, and I paid for her to have an abortion. I lived this promiscuous life with consequences all along the way, and probably the worst one was this guilt, shame, emptiness, loneliness, this seeking that could never, ever be satisfied. That was the worst consequence of all. And so it was at that point in Malibu that I decided I needed to become a godly man of character, and I needed to clean up my act and get my eyes focused on the right stuff.